Hi, I'm Jamie from ESL Teacher 365, and I've been teaching abroad since 2010. I've moved between 6 different countries, and it can be challenging to make new friends when moving abroad. In this video, I will share some tips and tricks on how you can make friends easily when teaching English abroad. The first important point is that it is normal to feel lonely when first moving or teaching abroad. This is completely normal because you're leaving behind your support system and you are launched into a whole new place. Give yourself some grace, but also know that you need to take some action if you would like to cure your loneliness. Language barriers and cultural differences do play a role in this as well. Some cultures are going to be very welcoming, so it's a bit easier to make friends. For example, when I was in Egypt, I found it quite easy to make friends. But some cultures are going to be a little bit more reserved and closed off, so it can be more challenging. And then you have the language barrier. So of course, knowing some of the language is going to help with this. The more of the language you know, the more comfortable it is going to be when you're moving abroad. Let's talk about some things you can do before going abroad to help set you up for success when you're hoping to make friends abroad. The first thing you can do is learn as much as you can about the culture before you go there. So if you like to read or maybe listen to podcasts, watch movies, read guidebooks, there's all sorts of ways that you can learn about the culture. I definitely recommend getting a language partner if you're moving to a country where the language is different from your own language. This will not only help you learn the language and gain confidence, but you'll also be exchanging your culture, and maybe they'll be sharing things from their country and you can compare it to yours and just prepare yourself a little bit better. I've done this before moving abroad to most of the countries that I've lived in, and it helps so much. Another important thing you can do is trying to connect with the school staff or teachers at your school before you go abroad. So sometimes you will be able to get their contact information and maybe start emailing back and forth. These days with video calls, it's very easy to just set up a Zoom meeting and get to know them and meet them. Social media is another great tool that you can utilize to either see what life is like in your new city or connect with teachers who are working at your school or similar schools, because there's a lot of people out there sharing their experience. You can also connect with local people as well. Let's talk a little bit about finding a language partner. There are a few different ways that you can find one. The first one is that some countries will have a specific website where they will have different language exchanges. So in Spain, for example, there's a website called Lingobongo, and you can go on there and put up a profile, or you can search through the profiles that are on there and find different language partners. The way I found my current language partner is through a Facebook group. I just typed in Italian English exchange. I saw someone's post and they said, I'm a very serious English language learner. I have been meeting with my language partner for over a year. We meet once a week. We practice different grammar, listening, writing activities, but we also do a lot of sharing and just talking about the differences in culture and language, and it's a lot of fun. There are also some different apps you can use. There's one called HelloTalk and another one called Tandem. These are other places where you can find language partners, and there are also paid class options as well, but it's just kind of up to you. Do you want to be just practicing your new language, or do you want to be having that exchange where you're exchanging English for their language? After arriving, you can try out the app called Meetup, or a similar app if this app isn't available in your new country. But this is a place where you can find different meetings, clubs, groups, sports, and I recommend trying 1 or 2 new meetings each week until you find something that you like. You can also look at local advertisements for different clubs and sports, language classes, cooking classes. Just try and put yourself out there and meet as many people as you can. If you'll be teaching in a place that has a university, oftentimes there are different international groups there, and they often have different trips or outings, maybe social events. So that's another place that you can look to meet people. If you are serious about learning about the language and culture and just want to have a way to make friends a little bit easier, then I recommend living with local people. I've done this through homestays and also just looking on local websites to find where I could live with some local roommates, and it has helped me learn Spanish, and it's been fantastic. This does help you get integrated into the community a little bit more because your roommates will obviously know people and have their family, and you'll just be meeting more people through them, and it does make it a bit easier than, of course, when you're living on your own. You can also get to know your coworkers, so take the initiative, invite them out to a cafe, and get to know them when you first arrive. With all of these tips, the main idea is that you need to take action and you need to schedule these things. Go ahead and schedule a new meetup group or a new club each week, and that way you will force yourself to meet people and it will just increase your social circle. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, okay, this is great, I have a lot of ideas, but this all seems a bit overwhelming. I do want to let you know that yes, you will feel a bit of overwhelm as well. Of course, there needs to be a balance between going out and meeting people and then having time by yourself to process the new language, process the new culture, and all of the emotions that go with being far from your family and friends. Take your time, schedule things, but of course, if you're just not feeling it that day, then take a break. I had times in Egypt where I had made new friends and they really wanted to do different things, but I was completely overwhelmed. So I just turned off my phone, took some time for myself to process everything, and it did help. Just take it one step at a time. Another thing that I can almost guarantee that you're going to experience is cultural misunderstandings, a bit of culture shock, and just days when you really don't know what's happening because of the culture or because of the language. And that's okay. Just try to ask questions, learn from these situations and misunderstandings, and honestly, just learn to kind of laugh it off. I have said such ridiculous things in other languages when first meeting people, and it usually just ends up being a pretty good story. But just know that there are going to be times where you have no idea what's going on, and that's just part of the Teach Abroad experience. Now that you know some different ways for making friends abroad, which of the ways do you think you will try first? Leave a comment down below. I hope this video was helpful if you are planning or thinking about teaching abroad. For more tips on teaching abroad and online, you can find me on Instagram at ESL Teacher 365. And if you need any help, then you can fill out my survey, which is linked down below. If you would like to learn how to teach abroad, then you can watch this video next. Happy teaching!